Welcome to Backstage with Becca Beat with special guest Chelsea Emma Franko. Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Backstage with Becca Beat. On this episode, she knew she wanted to be a theater performer when she went to NYC with her family and saw 11 shows in 10 days. Since then, she's performed in regional shows like Thoroughly Modern Millie, Chicago, Company, and more. She has played Elsa at the Hyperion Theater at California Adventure, and she was the Elphaba Standby on the second national tour of Wicked. Please welcome Chelsea Emma Franko. And you've now played Idina roles twice. You were also in Wicked as the Elphaba Standby. How did you get that role, and how did the audition for that come about?
Oh, I was in the middle of, I was coming up on like a year at Frozen, and I heard that Wicked was going to be in town, and I had like auditioned one time for Wicked while they were in LA like years prior. And then I had sent in one tape at one point in like 2015, and I'm certain nobody watched it. So, I mean, they really had never really seen me. And I remember the first time I auditioned in person when I was like 23, they were like, she's got a great voice, but she's not right for the role. No, it wasn't that. It was, she's got a big voice, but she's not right for the role. And I was like, boo.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that just means I'm not right for the role right now. Yeah. So I just went about my life, and then I heard that they were in town. And so I called my agent and I was like, can you get me an appointment? I really want to be seen for Elphaba. And he was like, oh, you know what? They only are seeing wizards and Nessas this time around. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go and wait in line with thousands of people for the open call when I have you.
Yeah.
So can you please just call them, email them, and tell them specifically that I'm playing Elsa at Frozen Life of the Hyperion. Just, I don't really condone name dropping, but at this point, sometimes they need to know why a person feels like they're right for a role. And so I just said, just ask them, say you've never seen her. She's playing Elsa. She would love to be seen, even just so that you even know that she exists.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear anything for a couple of days, and I was at Frozen like every single day. And my agent emails me and said, okay, I got you an audition. It's on Wednesday. Can you go? And luckily Wednesday was my day off. And so I went. He was like, here's the packet. And the packet for Elphaba is like a book.
It's like the Grimmery.
It's like the Grimmery. Yeah. It's not as bad as what I hear Come From Away is, but it's pretty hefty. Like you've got 3 songs and 2 long scenes. So it's not a walk in the park. So you have to really prepare for it. And I wanted to go in with all the sides memorized as best as I could. I was obviously very familiar with Wicked.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw the original cast on Broadway when I was 14. So like I've seen the show like 3 or 4 times at
You
this
saw
point.
the originals. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, like the originals. Yeah. In that second time that I went to New York, I saw Wicked. So it was something that was a dream, like that's why I wanted them to see me. And so I went in and I was like, this is just for me, really. This is just so that I can get a feel for what they are like in the room and how I can prepare for next time. That's what I was thinking. And this was in November of 2016.
Wow.
So it was like the same year as Elsa.
Big
Like it was
year.
just all happening. So I go in and then they asked me to sing The Wizard and I first, but only the second half. So they're like, okay, start from With Me.
So the hard part.
So the hard part. So I sang that and they're like, great, can you sing Defying Gravity? And then it starts with the flight section. So also
Again, the hard part.
Yeah. Yes. And then they asked me to do one of the sides. And it's the the Lion Cub scene with Fiero. And so I sang that. Oh, no, I'm not singing that. I'm reading it. And they were like, great. Can you do The Wizard and I again? And I was like, okay. And then they gave me a couple of like notes and things to change. And so I did that. And they were like, great. Thank you so much for coming in today, Chelsea. And that's like a cue word that a cue line I always say. If someone says, it was so nice to see you today, then I know that it's like a no. But they said, thank you so much for coming in today, Chelsea. And I was like, okay. So I get in the car and I start driving home from Beverly Hills. So it's like not close by. And
Not at all.
Not one bit. And my agent calls me while I'm on the way home, and he goes, they want to know if you would be interested in coming back in tomorrow, but you would be seen for the standby. And he goes, I think that they always have people sort of come back in, because I originally was going in for Elphaba, air quotes. And then they say, okay, we specifically are asking her if she'd be interested in the standby for Elphaba. And I said, yeah, I'm not gonna. First of all, I'm like nobody. So like what? I have nothing to my name really except for Frozen. Why would I be chosen for like the lead Elphaba like right off the bat, you know? So like I wasn't under any impression that I was like owed that. So I was like, of course I'll go in for the standby. I have no issues with that. Because it's Wicked.
Yeah.
So I go in the next day and they asked me to come earlier on Thursday than they did on Wednesday. So like my Wednesday appointment was like at 1:30 and my Thursday appointment was like at 10:15. And I was like, wow, that's really early to be singing Elphaba. Slightly.
Define gravity.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to get up early and I'll just have to warm up on my way down. And so I warmed up and did the whole thing. And I got in the room and they had me do Wizard and I twice, Define Gravity twice. They had me do the scene a couple times and they had me go back and do both of those songs one more time through. And then they said, great, thank you so much. And then I left and I was like, why do they have me do it that many times? And then like halfway through my drive home, I was like, oh, they're testing my voice.
Vocal stamina.
Yeah, exactly. They got to know if it's a fluke because I did it that one time, great. Is that the one time that she's got, or does she have it a few times? Because especially for the standby, I think, obviously for Elphaba, you got to sing it 8 times a week. And so you have to be able to have the stamina. But I think for the standby, it's a different type of stamina because you're not doing it every single day. It doesn't get into your muscle memory as quickly. And so you have to be able to manage it at a moment's notice. That's a different type of skill. So I went home and that was that basically. That was November. And I emailed my agent that was a Thursday. And then on Monday, I emailed my agent and said, I would just love some feedback. So if you could just call them or email them and just say when they have a chance, if they have any feedback, I'd love to have it so that I can learn for next time. Well, then like 5 minutes go by and my agent calls me and he goes, so you're being put on the list. And I was like,
what list?
List? And
he goes, good.
Yeah, I was like, is it a good list? And he said, yeah, they basically are saying to me that whatever standby position opens up first, you're going to be the person they call. And I was like, what? What? I'm not even computing this. And they said, hopefully we'll have her in the role in the next 6 months. And I was like, what? Like all of these things I could not even compute. It was craziness. And so I went about my life. You know, this was November. In like middle of May, I get a phone call from the casting director of Wicked. And he said, hi, just wondering if you are still interested in being the standby. And I was like, yeah, yes, I am. I am still interested in being the standby. He goes, great. We have a position opening up soon. And we were looking over your tapes and we can't find Define Gravity. Did we ever have you sing it? And I was like, yes. Because they filmed all of it. So my entire audition, they recorded, like they filmed it. so that they could refer back to it. And also because there's a lot of people that have to sign off before a person can be hired, that can't be at every single audition. Like Stephen Schwartz is kind of busy. So he was not in LA when they were auditioning, of course. So I was just auditioning for the resident director and then one of their musical director representatives. And there's a lot of people that have to sign off. And so they taped it and they couldn't find Defying Gravity for some reason. They were like, great. Did we ever ask you to do the second scene, which is the catfight fallen house scene in the second act? And I said, no, I actually never did that scene. They were like, okay, can you put yourself on tape and do the fallen house scene and Defying Gravity? And I said, sure. So I did that. I literally had no time to do this because I was at Frozen like every single day. And so I was like doing it in the Hyperion Theater on break, like in the lobby. And I was having like my best friend like tape me. It was ridiculous. Like, I can't believe I booked this job because of what I actually was sending in. And so I sent that in. A week goes by and they get back to me and they said, great, we have some notes. They're like, the casting director had called me at this point. He goes, here's some notes. We want you to do the scene again.
Okay.
And so I like write down all the notes and then I go to work that day. And I said, I can get this to you by Friday. And this was like a Thursday or something. And he's like, great. Yeah. The sooner the better, because we're really trying to get this, role like solidified. And I was like, great. Okay. So super. So I go back to work and I do like 2 shows of Elsa. And then I go into like a closet and I film the scene and I send it in. And then, casting director calls me and says, okay, great. It's looking really good. So I just have to get signed off from Schwartz and Montello and all those people. I was like,
you're like, okay, no pressure.
What is happening in my life? This is crazy. And Monday rolls around and Craig Burns calls me. He's the casting director for Wicked, and he goes, I'd like to offer you the role of Standby for Elphaba for the second national tour of Munchkinland. And I was like, oh, great.
You're like, you what?
I was like, thank you so much. Okay. I couldn't believe it. And so then I hung up the phone.
Did you break down?
No, I did not. And that's the next part of my story. Literally, you took the words out of my mouth. I did not start crying ever until I was at the show, my first day on tour, and I saw Jessica Vosk singing The Wizard and I in the theater, like 5th row back with 2 other castmates that were starting the show with me. And I didn't cry for months because this was June. By the time that I actually got the role, it was like the beginning of June, like June 5th or something. And I didn't fly out to the tour until July 31st. And then I started my first day on August 1st. So it was a few days, it was a few minutes between booking the role and actually getting to tour. Because obviously just stuff has to happen, there's a lot of contractual things and flights and bookings and all this and like packing up my life, there's a whole lot of things that have to take place before I can actually get to the tour. So I remember just sitting in that, I was like, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'm here, I'm at Wicked. I just met like all of the cast, and now Jessica Vosk is like singing The Wizard and I, and I'm just like a hot mess. And I remember my friend Chris, who was starting the show with me, he turned to me, he goes, I can't wait to hear you sing that. I was like, you don't even know if I'm good. But it was a whirlwind, it just sort of, again, it was like right place, right time. I think that there were things that lined up in my life that allowed me to be ready for that and prepared. And I had the right things on my resume that actually allowed people to take me seriously. Because like we were talking at the beginning, 5 years prior to that, if I would have gone to New York and like tried to audition for Wicked, like they're gonna laugh at me as I like leave the room, because I don't have the cachet and I didn't have the abilities yet, like I really feel like there were roles in my life that led up to booking Frozen and then led up to booking Wicked that prepared me for those roles, that I wouldn't have been able to manufacture or fabricate just out, like pulling it out of the air just by trying to go to New York and making it happen. So it really worked out for me. That's an understatement.
I mean, Elphaba and Elsa, so yeah, it worked out.
It worked out pretty good. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm just so thankful. I know how blessed that I am, and those experiences and having both of those roles on my resume and having the memories, there I can't trade it for anything. It's really, I'm just so thankful.
Do you remember the day you played Elphaba for the first time?
Yes, I do. Yeah, very, very, very vividly. My it was, Jessica Vasquez, the first Elphaba that I stood by for, and she was very kind and knew that Sunday matinee was coming, and so she told me, like, I'm gonna be calling out for sure. It was kind of, she's the first to say that that's her pattern, like,
yeah.
It's a hard role, and I mean, it's not an easy role to play, even once or twice, and so I can't really, 8 shows a week, many, many months in a row, I would probably start to get tired too. In fact, I know I would, because I was tired just being the standby. So, so she told me ahead of time, you should try to get your parents out here, because I'm definitely going to call it on Sunday. And we were in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Hey!
Like the most random city, but she was like, just
Wisconsin.
Try to get your parents out here so that they can see your first show, because it's so special. Obviously, first Elphaba lead show would be special, but first Elphaba show ever is like, not many standbys get that opportunity to like have their family or friends in their first show, because it's typically happening like at the last second, and so she was very, very kind, and she was such a big sister to me in learning the show. Like, she wasn't a part of my learning process because she was doing the show, but she was very, very helpful. Any questions that I had, she was always grabbing me saying, do you want to shadow me backstage? Do you want to come and hang out with me while we're doing costume changes? Like, do you want to watch me get green, or do you want to watch me de-green? Like, all of these things. Like, she was such a great person to learn under, because she had been doing it for a while by then, and she wasn't trying to learn how to be Elphaba, and she had the grace to include me, and I'm really thankful for that. And so she told me ahead of time, get your parents out here, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be calling out on Sunday. And so I got them out there, and they were there for my first show, and I just there was so much business that I had to do, because Elphaba's
hard to get into,
challenging in general. So I tried my best to just sort of not put a lot of pressure on myself, but I wanted to stay really, like, I described it as down to business, because I didn't want to take too many moments for myself, because if I took those moments, I wouldn't be able to get through the show. And when you've only been pretending how to be Elphaba prior to actually going on being Elphaba, is a huge shift. So I knew I need to just focus and stay present in every moment and be thinking 5 steps ahead so that I don't forget something. But I allowed myself to have 5 moments during that first show to just like take in. And the first one was, wow, what was the first one?
You're really off stage as Elphaba.
Yeah, exactly. I think the first moment that I was like, take this in and don't forget what this feels like, was my first entrance, that first run down stage. I like stood there and just let that like kind of wash over me. And then like the next one was honestly the blackout of Defying Gravity. That was like the next one.
Was that scary being up there?
No. I had practiced. No? They really make you feel comfortable before you're doing it in a performance. as best that they can. Obviously, there are emergencies that I've heard of where like they've never had the opportunity to do it in real life, and now they're doing it. But that was like a long time ago, and now they like prepare them
Yeah,
differently.
they have it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky because I got a full put-in rehearsal where they did the show from start to finish. Normally, if it's like an ensemble member or if it's like a supporting role, they'll just do the scenes that that person is in because they don't need to be waiting backstage, you know. They just need to have enough time to get into their next costume and then they do their next scene. But for Elphaba, because she's on stage the whole time, we were doing an Elphaba put in, a Figaro put in, and a ensemble male dancer put in all at once. So I got a full show from start to finish, and it was so great. But then that was the last time that I did that, and then it was like 2 weeks later that I was doing the show. So I tried my best to just do what I knew to do, and obviously there were mistakes, but it wasn't a train wreck. It's live theater, and also it's a lot. Hearing piano-based drums is different than hearing a full orchestra. And the first time that you get to do it with a full orchestra is when you're doing it for the first time in front of an audience. And
probably chills.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's that aspect of it, like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. But also, like, I don't remember that part when I was rehearsing. What are those French horns? So I was definitely trying my best to just follow the conductor at all costs. Like I was just like lasering in on him because he's the only person that I could trust at that point to like help me get through, because there's many moments where it's just me on stage. So there's no one else for me to look to. So yeah, I held Jenna Claire's hand very tightly that first day. And I looked at our conductor that day, like so much.
Like, please help with the cues. Help with
Yeah, especially the entrances, and
yeah.
And there's like, like different like grimmery language, like that I'm having to like know now.
You're speaking a completely different language.
Right, yeah. So there's a lot of things to think about.
As a standby when you're backstage, how do you stay constantly prepared to maybe go on if something happens?
What I did, I went in thinking that I was going to warm up every single day and be prepared just in case. But then that shifted very quickly, because it's a lot. So what I ended up doing is I did a lot of going into the conductor's room and singing full out with the orchestra while the show was going.
Okay.
Or if there was like a rehearsal room attached to the theater that we had to use, and they like piped in the sound from the show, then I would go and I'd walk through the entire show with the show and do it full out so that I could practice getting it into my body without having to do it in front of people,
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I did a lot of that. I did a lot of conditioning. That's sort of because you can't really condition for Elphaba unless you're doing it full out. So that's one thing that I would do once I had the show down and I was like really I knew what I was doing and I had done it a few times. Then I would just sing the song full out as much as possible. And I would go for runs on the treadmill and like try to sing The Wizard and I, just because that's what it feels like. You're running around and then now belt quick. So I did a lot of that. Funnily enough, my fourth week as a standby, we changed to Cincinnati, and from Appleton to Cincinnati. And that first week, Jess unfortunately got really sick, and she had like never got sick, like never.
It was like
and I did 6 of the 8 shows that week, and it was like my fourth show ever. My third show ever. I was like opening the
oh my god,
city, and it was craziness. And I remember just this is what this feels like. This is shocking to the body. And all of a sudden I was like getting it into my body differently. And I remember feeling really bad about it because I was like, Jess is really sick. And she was like really vocal about it. Like, she was like, I'm not doing these shows because she's really smart. I really look up to her in the way that she takes care of her vocal health. She doesn't sing when she's sick, and it's really wise because sometimes you don't have that choice. Luckily she did, because I mean, I've heard her sing many times, and I know that we need to protect that gift at all costs.
Oh my God, yeah.
She is like on another level. And so she's really wise to know when it's time to just say, I need to take a moment. And that allotted me the opportunity to get the show into my body in a different way. And I felt a lot more confident after that week. But it was such a weird feeling. Like, I feel bad. Like, I feel bad that I'm gaining this. I can't even tell you how valuable this is to me, but I also want my friend to be okay, like I want her to get well soon.
Well, yeah.
Well better.
But you're getting the experience, and it's like, it's a whole rush, and you got to be someone's first Elphaba 6 times that week.
Yeah, I know. It really is crazy. I got reviews like that. That's not something like standbys ever get, because they don't open shows. They don't open cities, and they don't close cities typically. Rightfully so, because I mean, I get it. That's the way that it is, and that's the way it should be. But I got some reviews that week, and it was like weird, like, oh, this is okay. Like, I'm not really someone that reads reviews, but I remember my stage manager printing them out and saying, do whatever you want with these. I just wanted you to have them. I was like, oh, okay. Yes. I just like put them away. I like didn't read them because I don't like to get in my head about things, because I can easily do that on my own. I don't need someone else helping me.
Well, you have a bunch of people in, where was it, Cincinnati, who are probably like, when is she coming back on tour here? Because she's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I met a lot of really great fans in Cincinnati that were so gracious and so supportive. And honestly, it was such a great city. I had friends from here back at home that they were in the area, and they actually drove to Cincinnati to see me in one of the shows. And so like it was a very special city. And I was living with Olivia and well, who else was I living with? I can't even remember people anymore. I can't remember who lived with where, but I know for a fact that I was living with Olivia Valley, and we had just the best time. And it was such a great time. It was a great city.
Did you all like duet the songs together? Because like I can just imagine the power in
we had some fun carpool karaoke happening that.
Oh my gosh, the power vocals and in the duet with you all singing together would be.
Yeah, we did a lot of turn on the radio and like riff to whatever was on, just because it's fun.
And speaking of power vocals, what was your favorite song in Wicked to get to sing?
Oh, my favorite song by far is No Good Deed. By far. It was my favorite song to sing. It's my one of my favorite moments of the show. It's really a turning point for Elphaba. So I really dug into that. And like I was saying before, comedy has been sort of where I've lived. But getting to be dark is something that I really, really love now. It's something that I kind of crave, because that's just not really where I live in my normal life. And so getting to go there in that show with all of the elements, it's so much fun. Yeah, definitely that.
And
I grew, I'm Not That Girl grew on me the longer that I did the thing. The longer I did it, the more that I started to really enjoy I'm Not That Girl. But it took me a long time, because it was one of the ones that I didn't like doing the most, because it's a really hard song. You wouldn't expect it, but it is. The rhythms are hard to get. The journey, like it's hard to interpret. It's a challenging song for sure, and I really struggled with it at first, but as I got used to it more and more, then that one started to become something that I look forward to every night. So.
And both I'm Not That Girl and No Good Deed are like huge acting moments too. So you're like really acting through song with
Yes,
those
agreed. That's such a great way of putting it. I think Elphaba really, I felt like Elsa really helped me change into a different type of actor, but Elphaba helped to like solidify that. And I was able to actually just live in that world of like really acting, because I was always the singer that acted as opposed to the actor first. And I strive to be a better actor in all facets of my life. So definitely those two songs helped me with that journey.
Well, I mean, you've done Elphaba, so like that's proof that you can act.
Thanks.
That's proof.
Well, thank you.
So what do you think, Wicked's been around since 2003. What do you think has made it so successful over the years and like relevant, and what do you think keeps it going?
I get this question a lot because I think it's why, like we all are wondering like why Wicked? I mean, we know why. Yeah. Anyone that's seen Wicked knows why. But I think deep down, my personal views on this are its poignancy, that it just continues to be relevant always. Like you can find something very relevant to what we're going through in our society, no matter what. And it's sort of, I don't want to say scary because it's not like frightful. I'm not frightened by it, but it's ironic how similar it like mirrors reality at times. And I think that that's what makes it special. I also think that it really celebrates the underdog in a different way than it has been celebrated in past shows. I mean, Wicked really changed the face of the industry.
Yeah.
I think there's so many layers to Elphaba, first of all, but you can also find something. I think any person that goes to see Wicked can find someone that they relate to, or find a situation that they are familiar with, or find something that they are longing for within that show. There's so much, it's such a human show. And there's so many different layers of that human experience within one little 3-hour play, and I think that that's what makes people that are seeing it for the first time love it so much. But the people that are coming back more and more each time, for me, I've seen the show thousands of times now, thousands, literally.
Love it.
Literally thousands of times. And I didn't take count of that. That's a lot. But I bet you I could easily find that out. But I found new things in the show every time I watched it. So I think it's just really brilliantly written. The music is brilliantly scored. And really, really, Wicked's score continues the story in a way that I haven't seen done prior to Wicked, they always say in musicals, the theory is when there's nothing more that the character, when the character has nothing more to say, they sing. And when they have nothing more to sing, they dance. And I think that Wicked encompasses that in such a way where it's all simultaneously happening. And that's why I think, for me, I find it so special.
Yeah. And who doesn't love getting to hear power vocalists sing Defying Gravity and Wizard and I and No Good Deed?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's all the special effects, and of course that's part of the conversation, but I don't think that's the reason why people keep coming back.
Yeah.
I think it's more emotional, but obviously definitely. The first time I saw Wicked on Broadway, I was floored with the special effects. I was like, this is Broadway? Like, it seemed like this should be a movie. It's so good.
Yeah, it's more special than a movie because it's right in front of you. It's happening right in front of you, and it's live theater, so it's different every night.
Yes, agreed.
So you've been through a lot with audition processes, it seems like. How do you work on self-confidence when going through that long process?
Going through all of that, I think I learned it's best to just be yourself. Start there. Because if you start by trying to be someone else or what you think someone else wants you to be, then if you end up getting the role, then you've gotten a role that wasn't like it. Ugh, wow, that got away from me. You've gotten a role that you started in a place that wasn't of honesty. And I think that honesty is the key. Being honest with your abilities, being honest with your goals and your desires and your dreams. That's really important when you're going into the audition world. And with the types of auditions that I've had to go through, which are standard for shows like this, that's standard.
Yeah.
But if you're just auditioning for like your school play and this is your first time experiencing like putting yourself in front of people and like being judged, I guess, in a way, that can be really overwhelming. So I really just think it's best to just be honest and just be you, because if they hire you because you're pretending to be someone that you're not, it's going to just be harder down the road, because you're going to have to keep up this facade that you fabricated. And I think it's just best. I would much rather someone want me for me than want me for someone that I'm pretending to be. So I think that that's something that I've really held on to. And also a big part of it is timing. And sometimes you can't control it. My mom always says, if you didn't get the role this time, it's because it's not your turn. And that's something I feel like all of us should really hold like really close to ourselves and like remember in the hard times. Even if something is not going the way that you were anticipating or the way that you wanted it to go, it's probably just because it's not your turn. There's more waiting that needs to be done. There's more growing that needs to be done. And someone has been waiting in line longer than you. And it's just their number has come to the front of the line. And now you're one step closer to being at the front of the line. And so it's just it's a matter of time, and it's a matter of being you and not budging on that.
And everything happens for the right reason, and eventually you're going to be the missing piece to the puzzle that the casting directors are trying to fill.
Exactly, because it is such a puzzle, and there's so many things that are out of our hands. That we have no control over. So might as well just make it easier for everyone.
When you go into a room and you're honest, like people are going to look, people who are up and coming, they're even going to they're going to be like, oh, wow, she's being herself. Like she's not copying what someone else does. Yes. People who come to shows, and they're going to look up to you for being.
Right. Exactly. And I think I think people gravitate towards people that are authentic. So more reason.
Yeah. For sure. So to kind of wrap up, have you been working on anything, whether it's singing related or not, during this time period that you want to talk about, promote?
Yeah, sure. Singing wise, I really haven't been, I have plans in my mind. I have some ideas and things that I'm playing with for the rest of this year that I'm not quite ready to announce because it's not fully fleshed, but I have some things up my sleeve that I'm getting ready to kind of put into motion. It's all self-created content. So, I started a TikTok, which feels ridiculous at times because I am old. And honestly, that first day on TikTok, I was so overwhelmed because there's so many things. And I know Gen Z is a whiz at that, but I mean, that's not where my world was prior to 2 weeks ago. So I'm working on figuring out TikTok. And I did in December, I did a series on Instagram, IGTV. It was called 31 Days of Carols. And I did a Christmas or a holiday themed song every single day of December.
That's so much.
And I've put out a full song, it was a whole thing. And I had so much fun. And so I think I want to do more things like that. and just kind of like do themed months or whatever, you know, and just kind of do that. But don't quote me on that because it might not happen. But aside from that, I've really just been working on my craft. I've been trying to stay up to date with technology and learning all that because it's a whole new thing. And I've been doing vocal lessons, and I'm a part of a YouTube musical. It's in the style of animatics. Are you familiar with animatics?
Maybe.
It's kind of like, if you think of, you would know it if you saw it. Basically what animatics is if you've ever seen like behind the scenes of Disney movies where they have all the storyboards drawn out, like every single scene, and then you just put it and you like animate that. That's what animatics is. But then what ends up happening is there's a actor that is also on screen, like in the corner, doing all the lines and singing all the songs. So it's like this whole like mixed medium.
Multiverse kind of.
Yeah. And it's called Hindsight 2020, the musical. And it's on YouTube and you can look it up. And I'm one of the characters in that. And we've done 4 episodes so far. And it's like a fun thing. My mom and I directed, produced, wrote, and performed in a fundraiser for the theater that I grew up doing shows at when I was a kid. It had a little accident, and part of the building caught on fire back in August. And so they had to have like the whole building shut down basically because of COVID, but then it caught on fire because it's crazy hot out here.
Yeah.
And no one's around, you know, and so they're not able to like catch things really quickly. And so we did a fundraiser thing, like all like the PBS specials, you know, where it's like a telethon. We did something like that in what was that, October? It actually aired, and we raised money, and so we're still working on that. So we're just trying to stay creative in any way that we can, really. You know, I'd like to do some more. I want to do some more music. I want to create my own content because I don't have any other options at this point. So aside from school, which I graduated in June, which I'm thrilled about.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's so close.
So close. Aside from that, I'm really just trying to put out more stuff of myself singing, because I feel like because I do live theater, I don't have a lot of clips of like my own personal performances. So I'm just trying to put out like covers and stuff. So that's pretty much all I'm doing. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, obviously. Everyone, I feel, in this time either went 2 directions, where they did absolutely nothing, or they took on absolutely everything. And I was I'm going to take everything on. I'm going to try it all out. So here I am, just like trying to keep my head above water. I've been busier than I've been in a long time, which is crazy. But you know, I'm trying to stay up to date with what's going on in our social world, and be a part of that conversation and be a part of the solution in that way. I don't want to be a part of a problem. I want to help in any way I can. That's definitely something that Elphaba taught me, is advocacy. And trying to live up to that. Yeah, you know, I think it's important, especially now. There's a lot of people that need our help. And so I can do that. I can help in whatever way I am capable. So I've been just trying to stay well-read, fact-checking and cross-referencing and all of the things so that I can stay informed and be a part of the discussion. That's basically what I've been doing. One thing I did do that I want to brag about. This room that I'm in right now used to be our guest bedroom, and I turned it completely into a studio. So so I've got my my self-tape area. I've got my vocal recording area, and then I have a brand new computer with a huge screen for editing, and I've got all of my like gadgets, and I got a brand new Mac Mini. So I'm like doing all the things.
You're a designer too.
I'm all the things. Yeah. I taught myself how to video edit and audio mix and edit as well. So, I mean, I taught myself OBS. So anyone that knows what that is,
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of this had to do with the fundraiser that my mom and I were doing. We did it all. Like we did it
Yeah.
all. So I was learning how to do it all as we were creating it. And it really it came out really great. If you want to watch it, it's called Operation Spotlight on the Arts. And there's a YouTube channel connected and you can watch the entire video and it has chapters so you can just skip to whoever you want to. And I did a 15-minute set I did four songs. 4 songs? Yeah, I did 4 songs. So if you want to see that, that's on the YouTube.
I'll put the links and stuff in the description with the time codes. I'll find the time codes and put the time codes there too.
Amazing. Yes.
I was gonna say, and maybe on TikTok you can like come up with like some like CSI musical thing because like that's a new thing.
Yes, clearly, because I watched the Ratatouille musical, and let me tell you, I want to be Remy so bad. It's one of my favorite Disney movies ever. So when they bring that to Broadway, I'm hoping they'll do some gender bender business.
Oh, yes, let's speak that one into existence.
Yes, because I love it.
Where can people follow you on social media to keep up with everything you're doing?
Oh, all the things. So I have a Facebook page under Chelsea Emma Franko. I have my main thing that I do is Instagram, and that's the Chelsea Emma. TikTok is under the Chelsea Emma, and so is Twitter. So you can follow me on all those things. And then YouTube, it's under Chelsea Emma Franko. And I have my own YouTube channel that it's like not very much at this point, but I'm working on getting more stuff out there exclusively for each of the platforms. So you can follow me on all those places, subscribe and do all those things. And then, when those exclusive things happen, you'll be the first to know.
Yes. And people are going to be so excited to hear that. Yeah,
I'm really excited to be giving that out there for the world, because I love to sing and I love to storytell, and that's what I feel like that's what my profession is storytelling, and getting to do that through song. There's nothing like it, so I've been doing some fun stuff on the TikTok, and I call it the TikTok because it's ironic.
I mean, true.
Yes. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep myself entertained, and hopefully it entertains other people as well.
Yes, and when the theater comes back, we'll see you performing at all the things on stage too.
That's correct.
Real quick, what are you most excited about when that does happen?
Oh, getting to commune with the audience. That's what I call it. You're spending time, everyone's deciding to spend time together and go on a journey that is only experienced that one time. And that's what I really miss. I miss that energy. I miss sharing energy. My personality really feeds off of energy. So it's something that I crave at this point. It's just not the same on social media. I love social media. I love it so much. And I love having those interactions with people and being able to talk to fans from all over the world that have supported me through so much, but it's not the same.
Yeah. You don't hear over social media.
That's correct. It's great for it's a great consumer thing, but it's not as someone that is putting out the energy like you do on stage. There's nothing like that live experience.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this today. I love the stories.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I didn't talk your ear off because I can just go, apparently. But
I love it because people miss theater. People miss having the conversation of theater. And that's why I started this, because the conversation of theater is so important for people to hear. And
the arts are so important, like it's really something that we should be spending more time investing in. Because as you notice, and I'm sure most people that are going to be listening to this have heard, what have we been doing during this lockdown? We've been consuming entertainment. And so we've been dealing with the arts. And for people to think that it's not important is really, it's
Frustrating.
hard. Like it's hard on my heart, like my heart breaks a little bit because they don't even realize what it takes to be an artist in the field that my field, but all the other facets
Yeah.
and the trajectories that the arts kind of like expands towards. There are so many things that the arts do, not just for entertainment purposes. So I'm glad that you have this conversational, let's just talk about the good old days, kind of podcast, because that's the kind of thing that I like to listen to. So I'm glad you're putting out that content too.
Oh, well, that means so much to me, and I can't wait till theater comes back. I can't wait to get the opportunity to see you perform on stage.
Yeah, well, that's fingers crossed, like I have no interest or no plans of leaving the industry. So that it just is going to be a timing situation.
Well, I've heard amazing things about you, so I'm sure we'll be seeing you on the Broadway stage in the near future.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Miss Becca.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!